Okay guys, the first project I'm going to be doing on the Supercharger is going to be replacing that isolator coupler that I mentioned in the last video. Basically, like I said, the coupler went bad and it makes this horrid noise, so the customer brought the Supercharger into the dealership, sorry, the ZL1 or the CTS-V into the dealership, complaining about a noise, and GM was told not to take the Supercharger apart, but to take the Supercharger off. They're going to warranty it with Magnuson, Eaton, Magnuson, whatever, same company, you know, same parent company, and they're supposed to destroy it, you know, get rid of the Supercharger. Well, what a bunch of guys did was, when they did this warranty work, they were taking these Superchargers home. They were falling off the back of the truck or whatever, you know. So you get these Superchargers used on eBay for pretty cheap, and it doesn't take a lot of money to fix up these Superchargers. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is taking off this front snout, replacing that isolated coupler, and putting in a new coupler. Now, I got this coupler on eBay. I think it was $20, $25, whatever it was. This is a solid piece of delrin that's been machined, you know, CNC machined for the proper tolerances and spec. And I got it from, I'm not sure if you can read that, but it's LSX Precision. The owner is Matthew Varga, and he sells this on eBay. And I got it for, like I said, $20, $25, what it was. And I got it pretty quick. So let's get started with the install. Now, there's only 4 bolts holding on the Supercharger to the front of the blower housing. And what I'm going to do is take off these 4 bolts and pull the snout off. So get your, it's a 10mm bolt. And this is all aluminum. And these bolts have been torqued down to 20 foot-pounds from the factory. With it being in an aluminum housing, I'm not going to use power tools on it. I just, you know, this is the only project I'm going to be doing today, so it shouldn't take too long. And like I said, it's a 10mm bolt, and they come right out. So yeah. Wow, there's not even Loctite on that. There's no, I was expecting there to be some. So there's 1. Whoa, sorry about that. It's 2. There's 2 more on the bottom. Maybe 3. I think it's only 2. Whoa. So yeah, 3/8 wrench, 10mm. And I've got a 6-inch extension on there, and should be all we need. Let's get this last 2 bolts out. Get this last bolt. That's 4. Actually, let's take out that last bolt. These bolts are kind of a pain in the ass to take off because it's not on the car. Yeah, that one is a lot harder. Now, I'm not sure this one has to come off. I don't know the length of it. Oh, yeah. That one definitely has to come off. So there's actually 5 bolts. 4 short bolts and the long bolts. So that is hopefully it. And I don't have a big pry bar, so I just have an old tire iron. I think this is off my Beretta that I had like 12 years ago. So we try to get in here. Okay, that one, if you heard that, take your tire iron or your big screwdriver, put it back behind this tab, and pry it loose. If you guys heard that big noise, this whole assembly loosened up on the front. And there's 2 of these tabs, there's one on each side. And okay guys, don't be a dumbass like me and forget to take all the bolts out. There's actually 2 of these black bolts and 4 of the smaller bolts. That's like, I got this side loose, but this other side wasn't coming loose. Found out there was a bolt back behind the purge solenoid here. You gotta take that bolt out too. I was like pulling on this thing, and finally it came loose. And I was like, what the hell? Come to find out there's a bolt sitting back behind the purge solenoid that I didn't see. So make sure you take all the bolts out. Try to get a better shot here. So there's the supercharger without the front snout on it. Now, this is the part that goes bad because there's a spring inside here. And with the spring, it likes to rub, it likes to get hot and deform, and it actually causes some indentations on your impeller here, on the shaft going to the accessory drive. So we take this off, and actually you can see how that pin is popped up. This tells you how crappy of a design this is. So basically, throw that out. Take your replacement hub and line it up with your press it onto your impeller here, and you'll be good to go. Man, it's a little tighter, but it is delrin plastic, and it is pretty cold out. So, but you can replace that coupler, like I said. That coupler is going to slide into here, right here, on the top here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up this gasket surface with a razor blade and some cleaner. And then I'm going to put some, I got some red gasket maker, high temp. I'm going to actually put it on this piece, but clean this up with a razor blade. Clean this mating surface up with a razor blade, and then I'm going to put the 2 pieces together. So that's pretty much about it. The bolts are all 20 foot-pounds from what I read. And this is what that purge solenoid does. Whoops. That purge solenoid, when you get off boost, this opens up and bleeds your pressurized air from behind the supercharger back into the intake, so behind the throttle body here. So this is what pops off when you let off the gas, because with this closed it's going to make booze, with it open it's not. So that's really about it. I will update this when I've cleaned the gasket surfaces, because you don't need to see that, and then I'll do the final torque. So thanks. Okay guys, I have cleaned up the front of the supercharger, and as you can see, you know, you spin the wheels, spin this inner housing, you can see the blades spin. Like I was saying, you can see I cleaned off the gasket surface with a razor blade and some Simple Green, and then I wiped it down, got everything cleaned up. Now I'm going to apply an RTV bead around the entire exterior of this, and then I'm going to put the front part snout into the supercharger itself and torque everything down. Okay guys, as you can see, I've just put a simple, I used a pair of rubber gloves, silicone glove, whatever, you know, I used a pair of gloves, and I just finger applied some RTV silicone around this. And now it's high temp silicone. Now I'm going to put this onto the supercharger. So let's get this in the air. And I want to try to get the pulleys lined up best I can. So I'm going to try to line it up by putting it at 12 o'clock. And now we'll put this back onto the supercharger. Whoops. Don't hit that pulley. We're in. Okay, there you go. It slid. Alright, so these are going to torque down to 22. I'm actually just going to do the 4 perimeter bolts, and then don't forget the bolt on the bottom. Okay guys, I have torqued, or I'm about to torque all the bolts to 20 foot-pounds. All 6 of them, so let's start here. Okay. Okay guys, I just finished torquing down all 6 bolts to the 20 foot-pounds. I put the high temp RTV behind the snout, you know, on the gasket surface. I cleaned that up with just razor blade and some simple green. And this is the finished product with the new isolator coupler, the solid delrin piece that I got off the internet from LSX Precision. Now getting that black pulley onto the snout actually was pretty tight. It was a pretty tight fit. I took a rubber hammer and I had to tap it a little bit to get it fully seated, but that was really, you know, the only hard part of this swap was getting that pulley onto the snout and then getting that lined up properly with the other 3 pins coming out of the supercharger itself. So, but yeah, that's it for the first part of this swap. I got the new pulley, not the pulley, I got the new coupler inside the supercharger, and this supercharger should be ready to go. Now, I have seen, so to finish the story that I'd started in the other video, this supercharger I am in total for $620. The blower itself was about $600 because of this bad coupler right here. That's why they were selling them, you know, off the back of the truck, if you want to call it that. That's why they were selling them on eBay. So this was the reason why they were causing them to sell them for like $400 or $500, $600. You can get that coupler, the black coupler that replaced this one, off eBay for about $20, and you can get the supercharger itself. eBay is probably the best bet, but I also highly recommend if you go to the CTS-V owners group, the Camaro5.com, those 2 forums, those are where you can get some of your parts for some, you know, your used superchargers for cheap. Also, Facebook's a good source. There's the group, Facebook groups where you just buy and sell parts. There's a CTS-V group. You know, I'm sure if I looked, I could find a ZL1 group, but I just never really needed it because I ended up getting the supercharger off eBay, and that's about it. I am pretty happy with the product. Like I said, a little bit of tough getting that isolator coupler onto the 3 pegs on the back of the snout, but beyond that, I mean, this thing's good to go. I could flip the supercharger if I wanted to and sell it as a, you know, good to go blower, but you know, I'm pretty good. This is gonna end up on the SS, and I really won't have a lot of money tied up in this swap. The supercharger for the Corvette retail is like $7 grand. I paid $3,000 roughly for it, and actually I didn't even pay any money out of pocket. I had a whole bunch of stock parts that I sold, and that paid for 95% of this swap. Now I'm just talking about the blower itself, the headers, the aftermarket intake shroud, the valve covers, the catch can. I don't include that in the cost of the supercharger because, you know, those are all accessories to the blower. The Edelbrock kit came complete, everything with it. This kit I'm gonna have to piece together, but I have like 98% of the parts. There's just a few parts that are missing, and thought you guys might want to see this second part of the story. So I'm going to keep posting updates, and I hope you guys subscribe. Thanks for watching my video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe.